All right, Broncos country. We're here. We're live. We're ready for you. Halftime hash. We are up on the New York Jets. New York Jets. And we're here for that halftime. So make sure you guys are posting your comments. Make sure you guys are posting as much as you can. Let us know what you're thinking as we go through this. First impression, Ray. What's happening in this first half?
Man, the first impression is that the run game has come to life on the back of Williams, man. Williams looked amazing in those first couple of drives. Of course, gets that couple big bursts and the touchdown on the second drive of the day today. Run game has come to life. We always thought it was going to be the strength of our Broncos offense, and now it has. We each got both running backs got a rushing touchdown, and boy, that defense looks about as good as it can get, bro.
Yeah, that defense is looking amazing against a rookie quarterback. I think our fans, if you're out there watching from the game, you guys are killing it. Look, you guys are really becoming a part of this game. I love that mentality. As we start getting some questions coming in. So first thing everyone's worried about is KJ Hamler, right? Like, yo, right? Me and you took the KJ Hamler. We went all in on KJ Hamler for this week. I really hope he's okay. What are you thinking about him?
I mean, the question is how many injuries can the Broncos take, man? I mean, seriously, we're down 3 starting defensive players. Judy goes down. Hamler, maybe not a starter on the stat sheet, but whenever you go 3 wide, Hamler's in the game. You're talking from the starting 22 to today, we're talking 5 starters down. I think that's a really, really tough pill to swallow for Broncos country. 3 easy games on the front end. I think a KJ Hamler, I think a Jerry Jeudy, I think a Josie Joe. Those guys make differences in games like the Baltimore Ravens next week. So I'm a little concerned. My concern levels are probably a 5 out of 10 when it comes to injuries, and the fact that they didn't even re-show that play on the live broadcast tells me that KJ Hamler's out for the year.
Yeah, it's tough when the broadcast crew says, "We'd replay it for you, but it's too gruesome." That's when you know it's bad. Kayla, I assume if I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm sorry. Finally, the run game is on. Look, yes. That combination. We got 2 scores, 2 touchdowns, both from both of our running backs. We called it in the pregame podcast. Javonte Williams, he was just a broken tackle away from a touchdown. He got it. How are we feeling about the run game?
Looks great. I mean, look at the stat sheet right now. Melvin Gordon, 8 rushes, 40 yards, touchdown. Javonte Williams, 6 rushes, 30 yards, touchdown. So we got 15 carries, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns in the first half. That's how you take control of a game. That's going to be huge for this defense, give them the rest that they need. And if this run game comes alive, man, it's going to be really interesting to see how we manage games going forward. And all that being said, Teddy Bridgewater, 128 yards passing again, very efficient, 11 for 17, no mistakes, looking really good out there. Bridgewater is as well. So very complimentary football.
Yep. And Kyla, I apologize. It's Kyla. I appreciate that. Hey, More running going on from now. Yeah, up 17-0. How do we expect this second half to go? Are we just going to keep running the ball, or are we expecting the same of what we've seen the first half?
Yeah, Jets get the ball to start out, so hopefully we can kind of keep that pressure on here and just kind of continue to see what's going on. I think at this point in time, right, we all thought it would be a low-scoring game. I don't think anybody believed this was going to be a shootout. I personally, and we talked about this, Jared, in our show, I would like to see the Broncos break the 30-point mark in this game because it's going to take points to beat teams like the Baltimore Ravens. It's going to take points to beat teams like the Browns, the Raiders, the Chiefs. So I would love to see the Broncos drop a 30, 35, 40-point spot today, really let that offense start to breathe. But if the run game's going, man, I still think the crazy thing is Javonte Williams is still 1 tackle away from having a massive run in this game. And so I really love what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, that run game is on point. Let's see. First place in the AFC West. A lot of people talking about the AFC West and the Chiefs right now. The Raiders are losing 14-12. The game has not gone to halftime yet, as I see, but that's still too close to call. Look, us and the Raiders, who would have saw us and the Raiders as 2-0 entering the season?
Yeah. And if you watch the game, I watched the Chiefs, Herbert, Mahomes show over there, man. I mean, here's what I'll say about the Chiefs real quick. 3 red zone turnovers, I believe, happened today, and they still had a chance to win the game. So listen, the Chiefs are probably the best 1 and 2 team in the entire NFL at this point in time. So I'm not going to totally discount the Chiefs at this point in time. But, hey, man, the purpose, and we talked about this, the Broncos need to win the games they're supposed to win to even be involved in the conversation at the end of the year. And the fact, if we would have been 1-2, 2-1 out of these first 3 games, I think our playoff chances would have been looking slimmer and slimmer. The Broncos have to win these 3. There's a couple games later in the year they have to win. And if they can steal a game here, steal a game there, then I think the Broncos have a chance to be in the conversations. I wouldn't quite rule out the Chiefs quite yet. There's a couple of teams I would rule out at this point in time. Steelers, but the Chiefs I would not quite rule out at this point.
Absolutely. Lots of stuff talking about the division. We want to see the Broncos dominate today. Yeah, absolutely. 30 points in the second half. 30 points total.
Yep.
I think is doable. Right now, 17-0. Kind of what we were expecting against the Jets, right? We were expecting kind of a dominant first half. Right, Ray, we talk about some RAYgers, man. Let's talk about some RAYgers. Oh, so far I've cashed out on 3 of my RAYgers.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, so we got a couple more that we got to take care of in the second half. Teddy Bridgewater to throw, Noah Fant to get a couple more catches for a few more yards. What are we expecting from the second half? Are we expecting to come out firing or expecting to play a little bit more conservative?
Yeah, I don't think the game plan changes at this point right now. I mean, I think again, I think if we're up for 24-17 and going into the fourth quarter, you might start thinking about condensing that play clock a little bit. Wilson, he's got a few little pops on him. The Jets, if they make another little drive down the field, they fumbled on their field goal. It could be a 17-3 type of game. The Broncos may not even get the ball back in that moment where they did. I think the game plan stays the same for at least the time being. I bet the Broncos get in the end zone once in the third quarter right here. Drive down, methodical, do their thing. And then hopefully, when the fourth quarter comes around, I have no problem with condensing the game with all of these injuries. Couple of runs. Let's make the game a little bit shorter and let's get the heck out of here. 3-0, baby.
Absolutely. So Zach Wilson, 9 of 15 for 56 yards. He's also been sacked 4 times.
Yep.
4 times in this game. 2 of them on that last drive. Just amazing pressure from the defensive line. I think that's absolutely amazing. Teddy Bridgewater, 11 for 17, 128 yards, averaging 7 point yards per pass, which I think is really good, and also has spread it out to 6 different receivers, which I think is just something that Broncos coaches are not used to. And he's really playing the open receiver. He's not just playing favorites, and I think that's something really cool. So far, quarterback rating of 87.4 in the first half. How are we feeling about Teddy Bridgewater's play?
Yeah, I think the narrative on Teddy Bridgewater is coming true, right? Conservative, smart, takes care of the ball. I even heard the announcers on a couple of occasions say something to the extent, the Jets aren't going to get the ball back if that's their strategy here. I think for me, Teddy Bridgewater has performed above expectations up to this point in time. For me personally, I think he got the highest passer rating through the first 2 weeks, almost 600 yards passing, 4 touchdowns through the first 2 weeks. That would have been above and beyond anything I could have imagined. I think for Teddy Bridgewater, I love it. I love it, man. If Teddy Bridgewater is going to play at that 250 to 300 yard, 2 touchdown, very, very efficient, 70+% completion rating, plus a run game, we could be quite potent as we look forward to going into some of these bigger, high-powered offense games that we have coming up here shortly.
Absolutely. As we're here in the halftime, please post your comments and questions. We're going to rapid fire here for a couple questions here. / comments, and I want to get your input on this, Ray. So first question, throwing to Fant and Albert O in the second game plan. Is that going to be the game plan?
We got to find the third wide receiver, right? We talked about it. There's no doubt, and no, I haven't seen it in the comments yet. Sutton's been a little bit of a non-factor today. Tim Patrick's team seems to be the number 1 receiver right now. Again, Sutton, Tim Patrick. You flip a coin. That's who's going to be number 1 each and every week. As we broke down in our show earlier this week, the question is who's our number 3 wide receiver? And I think right now with Hamler out, I think absolutely Noah Fant becomes that number 3 guy, if not, a borderline number 2 guy that we have. And Albert O, he's potent. I love the 2 tight end package with Hamler out. Christopher, great point. We're probably going to see that 2 tight end package a little bit more in the second half because Spencer's probably our 3rd wide receiver at this point in time. And so I don't see Spencer playing the same role that Hamler does. So I think 2 tight end package is what we're going to see quite a bit in the second half.
Absolutely. Kev, our co-founder here, Electric here in the stadium. Of course, he's at the game.
Yeah,
it's
baby.
amazing. You could tell on TV. I'm sure it's just more amazing in person. Wish I still lived in Colorado to enjoy that. I know you're going to the game next week, Ray, right?
Yeah, baby. We're going to the game, baby.
Yeah, I think like 90% of the Orange Weekly crew is going to be at the game next week, and I'm excited for them. All right. Is it too early to say the Vic Fangio hot seat starting to cool down?
Yes. I think so. Vic was coaching for his job in the first couple of weeks. I think it's playoff or bust for Vic Fangio. And so, again, we thought these 3 games were winnable games. Looking at the schedule the rest of the way, can you find 6 or 7 more games that they can win? I think you could probably find 2 or 3 for sure winners. You got to find a couple more in there. Daniel, I think Vic doesn't get fired, I think, at this point in time midseason, unless something really terrible happens. If we go into the bye week 3-7 or 4-6 or something really horrible goes into the bye week, I think what Vic has done is at least got himself into a position where he isn't going to get fired midseason, I think, at this point in time. But I still think it's playoff or bust, if you ask me, when it comes to Vic Fangio. I've seen enough of the guy. Everybody knows his roster's talented. If you don't make the playoffs this year, you're gone, if you ask me.
Absolutely. Kyle, I love it. Awesome thing about Teddy and the Broncos. There's no superstar. It's a team. Everyone does their job. It's a win. I absolutely love it. That's what, I keep saying, like, 9 receivers first game, 9 receivers second game, 6 receivers in the first half for the third game. It's super smart. Great play. Great point, Kyla. Let's see. Could Hinton come out and play some more with the absence of KJ Hamler?
Yeah, in fact, I don't know who fills that 4th or 5th receiver role, really. I think when we think about our weapons on the offensive side, I think probably if we think of our top 5 offensive weapons in the passing game, I think it ends with Fant and Albert Okwuegbunam. And so I think we have 2 tight ends in that top 5. And so I think the question is who's the next guy? I know DeAndre Spencer's had a great, camp. Everybody says that, but he's a little bit of a gadget guy. I don't know. He's got quite the same route running ability and top speed there. Hinton, potentially again could fill some of that play time. Those guys to me are non-factors right now. Once we know the extent of KJ's injury, though, that becomes really interesting when we think about next week and the 3 wide set and who really fills that 3rd wide receiver spot. The true. You can line them out in the slot. You can line them out wide spot. That becomes a really interesting question. And we'll break that down, I'm sure, on the post-game show, the Monday show, the Tuesday. We'll break it down all week long. But from the beginning, fans are 2nd or 3rd target, so I'm not too concerned right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely good point, and this is a good transition to make sure that you're tuning into our Tuesday night or Monday night Orange Weekly After Dark. Jason is an athletic trainer by trade. He's going to give you some breakdowns on some of these injuries, especially I think I'm really interested to watch that show to see what he thinks about KJ Hamler's injury and what we know at that point on Monday. And then we got our Tuesday night Bourbon Broncos No BS, pre-game podcast, post-game podcast, RAYgers. If you're not following RAYgers on all of your podcast listening, make sure you're following that. And then we got our pre-game show and, of course, the halftime hash, which you guys are watching to right now. It's time for kickoff. But I think see if we have any other. Other than that, we got some. They don't want none. I appreciate that.
The Deets don't want none. That's for sure.
Yeah. We got some Mile High Salute. Absolutely, we super here for it. And other than that, we got Baltimore next week. Look, I think it was great, Ray. I hope we had a good time. You got any last minute things before kickoff?
No, like I said, I want to see the offense come alive here a little bit. 2 really methodical drives, pound them in the throats, be 24-0, and then you can do whatever you want to with the starters in the 4th quarter. Let's see what happens.
Love it. Hey, as always, we're going to end on a
Go
Broncos.